Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today I want to explain to you the difference between a margin account and a cash account and why you would choose one or the other. Let's go. Now, cash account should be familiar with you. If it's not, let me quickly explain. Basically, when you open up a brokerage account, let's say you have $1,000, $5,000, right? Whatever amount you have, you can trade that amount and not have to be constrained or have to follow the rules called the pattern day trader rule, which I'll make a video about that in the future. So make sure to look out for that. But basically what it means is you can't trade more than 3 day trades in a rolling 5-day period. And a cash account will prevent this. You can actually trade as much as you like. However, the caveat to that is you have to wait for your funds to be settled. So let's say you have $5,000 and you buy a $5 stock and you buy 1,000 shares. That's your full cash. So now you have to wait for the settlement. So every broker is different. Some does 2 days for settlement, 3, 4, but let's say it's 2 days for you. So therefore you have to wait 2 full days to trade again. Well, that would be frustrating because it's still kind of like the PDT. However, if you have $5,000 and you allocate $1,000 per trade, that means if you're going to trade at maybe $5 stocks, right? Then you could buy 1,000 shares each, right? 1,000 shares a day gives you 5 trading days. Because after, the first day on Monday, they're rolling days. The next 2 days, your money's cleared again and you can constantly trade. Now this really works for people who have, a little bit bigger money than a $500 account or $1,000 account. It's a little harder to do that way. But if you have $5,000, you can easily do it, or $3,000. So just think of it that way. It's a way that you can kind of get around this PDT because it can be very frustrating. And not only that, but keep in mind that you need to make sure that you are being very specific on what you trade to with a small account. Don't just, because you can trade so much, you just trade everything, because then you can lose it all very quickly. And also make sure that you know that you can only long. You can't short sell with the cash account. So if you're interested in short selling, you need to pump the brakes there. You can only long, which is okay. I mean, most of us start as a long bias trader. It's important to learn. And if you're interested in shorting, still know you got to learn the long side so you can understand how they think. So that way you can position yourself correctly when you do short. The margin account is what you'll hear pretty much everyone's using. I use it, and the way it works is, and here's why it's enticing. If you have a small account, you have $1,000, and some brokers will give you leverage, right? You'll hear that word a lot. And they'll give you 2-to-1 leverage, 3-to-1 leverage, 4-to-1. And what that means is if you have $1,000, they'll give you 4-to-1 leverage, meaning you can trade like you have $4,000. So it's a huge difference. So if you have $5,000, now you're trading like you have 20 grand. So you can buy a stock that's significantly more expensive than a normal stock. Maybe if you have 5 grand, you can't buy a $20 stock, 1,000 shares, right? Because it's too expensive. But with leverage, you can buy it. Now, leverage is a double-edged sword, right? Like you can buy a lot more shares and you can make a lot of money if you're right. But on the other side of it is if you're wrong, you can lose a lot very, very quickly. And that's something that people, they just see the bright side and they don't really focus on, hey, you can lose it off very fast. Now with a margin account, you do need to be aware that the PDT rule, the pattern day trader rule, will kind of govern how you trade. Because if you have a margin account, you are under the PDT. And that means you have under 25K. That means that you can't trade more than 3 times in a rolling 5-day period, which can be frustrating. But there's still ways around that, right? One of those ways is you can open up multiple margin accounts with different brokers. Say you have $5,000, like the same example, we talked about the cash account. You can open up maybe 3 or even just two different brokerage accounts, split up that 5 grand, 2,500 here, 2,500 here. And at that point, you would have 3 day trades per, which is 6 day trades. And as a beginner, I mean, it's plenty. That's all you need, because you need to be very, very specific on what you trade to, though, because you don't want to trade over that, and you don't want to hold. Here's a warning. You don't want to hold a trade because you're worried about hitting your pattern day trader rule. Because if you're worried about that, I've done it before in the past. A lot of people will tell you the same story, that if you do hold something because of that fear, you'll probably lose big because you're going to be in a bad position. But the pattern day trader rule, one way to get around it is, like we said earlier, is the margin account split into 2 separate margin accounts. And it gives you the flexibility to have that leverage where you can buy more expensive stocks, bigger sizes, but also that you need to be aware if you split it, you can still day trade a little more, more flexible, and this will help you when you're trying to grow your account and you're not constrained and not having to worry about a cash account. And also, you can short sell. You can short sell with the margin account, unlike the cash account, you cannot. So I hope this helps you guys a lot in understanding the difference between the 2 accounts and the difference between why one rules apply, the PDT, to one account and why it's not applied to the other. If you have any questions about these 2 accounts, feel free to comment below. Let me know. I'm happy to help. And I know a lot of people in the community of Be The Trader, they will answer your questions as well. We're all very helpful for one another. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified for future contents coming out. And again, thank you so much for watching.